Oh, wow. Oh. Oh. Okay. All right, you go, Boo Radley. Huh. Uh, oh. Well, hello there. Sorry, I was reading To Kill a Mockingbird. It was a favorite book of mine in high school, but recently I saw the play at the PAC and man, talk about jaw dropping. And then I thought to myself, I'm not much of a theater person. So I think we should have an episode dedicated to one of the oldest arts of old times. So in today's episode of Exit Stage Right, our first guest is Erica McGhee, the acting theater director at Union High School. Our second guest is community director Michelle Cullum. The episode is going to center around what kind of plays got them into acting, who are some of the actors and actresses that came before them, and what are the resources that local actors can get into, whether they're getting out of high school or want to pick it up as a hobby a little bit later in life. This is Misconnections. My name is Thunderwolf, and this is brought to you by the Tulsa Performing Arts Center and Create Tulsa.
There's a lot to see, Tulsa, Tulsa, full of beauty. Let's stick together, no more misconnections.
Hi, my name is Chaz Thunderwolf Stephens, and this is Misconnections, brought to you by Create Tulsa and the Tulsa Performing Arts Center, filmed here at the Rax Tulsa. Today is our theater episode, and I'm really excited to introduce our two guests. First is the director of the Union Theater Program, Erica McGhee, and second is local community theater director, Michelle Cullum. Thank you all so much for being here today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, of course. So I'd like to start off, something kind of silly, but also at the same time, a very serious question for me. Can you all explain cats to me? Yeah, this is normally the answer I get.
No.
Okay.
No,
All right. Well, the hunt continues then.
Sorry.
No
I will say this. It's about cats.
Okay. Nice.
It's literally
nice.
about cats.
And if I remember correctly,
Yes.
it's like each cat is a different life
Yes.
and they die or something like, or there's also like a deity cat, right?
They're making their case to go to the other side.
Okay.
Yeah. And one gets chosen. One gets chosen. Right?
Okay. Well, no spoilers.
Yeah.
I won't watch it, but for our audience at home, maybe they will. All right. Perfect. My night has now been clear. All right. So let's kind of turn to a more serious question. Both of you are in the theater program or a theater community. And I want to know, as women, what are some other women's stories that you all felt haven't been told in our local theater community that you feel like could use a bigger platform that maybe helped you or that help you now or anything like that? Or do you have any stories like that you'd like to share?
Well, I really appreciate you having us here today. I would like to see more women not just be on the stage, but be what one of my theater friends calls behind the desk. I started out on the stage. And then one day someone said, "Hey, I want you to direct." And I was like, "I don't direct, I act." And they were like, "No, we want you to direct." And they actually put me behind the table and taught me how to do some things. And it was like, oh, I kind of like this directing. I don't have to remember lines. I don't have to worry about making a mistake on the stage. I kind of like this. And then too, being able to work with various actors. Somebody called me a casting director because I have a list of actors and actresses that I call on. It's like, look, I want you to audition for this show. I want you to audition for that theater company. But I really wish that there were more women that would take on a director's role. Because, okay, I'm going to say this, and if it needs to be cut, it can be cut. But I was just a part of a stage crew for a show called Trouble in Mind. It was a Black show. Well, it was written by a Black writer and had a Black theme to it. And there was a white man that directed it. And I was production crew, so I was kind of behind the scenes, and I was like, "Director, come here," and whispering in his ear and just kind of, "Oh, I like that idea." Or I would talk to the actors and tell them, why don't you try this?
Mm.
And they would try it and he would be like, oh, I kind of like that. I didn't think about that. But I was like, it was written by a Black woman. It would have been beautiful to have a Black woman direct it.
Mm-hmm.
That would probably have given the same nuance and the same feeling
Right.
that the writer had put into it.
Do you feel the same way, like with school theater, as far as like, I know you, and then I know Peggy McGill and Muskogee,
Mm-hmm.
and y'all are the only two that I know of as far as like Black women directors. Do you feel as if like in education, maybe it's more diverse, or?
I don't think so.
Oh.
I'm the only female Black director in Tulsa that I know in the educational side.
Okay.
And the team that I work with at Union is all male.
Wow.
It's an all male, all white male. Love my white male brothers.
Right.
I mean, they're my brothers, but it's an all white male team. And so, no, I'm the only one that I know of. I think there could be more of us.
Yeah.
But as far as like stories, you're talking about stories. I'm kind of I love like sports stories.
Okay.
Right? I'm not a sports person at all. But I think there's not a lot of sports stories about women that are being told.
Okay.
And just I love how those stories show so much resiliency in the human spirit. But there's so many that are told about men and not a lot about women. So I would love to see more of that being done because those stories exist.
Right.
That kind of leads us to our next question I want to ask you all is like, with the type of productions that you all produce, do you feel like you're supported enough or limited to be able to share these stories? So if you wanted to do a story on like a Black female athlete or a woman athlete, do you feel like you can have that without having pushback, or feel like you can do those in even community theater, or people would come to it and things like, is there an interest for it?
I was about to say it could be done, but I don't know that the audience would show up for them.
Wow.
Yeah. And I don't know. That is good because there are not enough sports related ones.
I think it's very interesting where this is our theater episode. We're talking about sports. You don't have that crossover very often.
Yeah.
I love
but those
it.
stories are so great.
Yeah.
I would say in educational theater, it's twofold. You have to consider your community, right? And in your district and the kids that you service, and the families that you service, and then the stakeholders. And so, they do need to be pleased with what you choose. But also, at Union, I feel like I do have some autonomy to be able to choose kind of the stories that I want to share and the stories that I want to tell. And then there's an automatic audience with those stories because parents support our stories. I mean, we're a pretty supported district, I believe, but I do have to be careful. Like I can't just go out and do anything that I want to do just because I want to do it if it does not fit our community.
Right.
So it's twofold. Like I could do it and it would bring awareness to those stories if I wanted to, but that within that, it would have to fit our community.
And I wanted to ask you this, both as educators, was it or is it hard to get more kids of color into theater? And what were like those roadblocks that maybe like, I know we joked about it earlier, both of y'all have sons and none of them became Denzel. But I am curious,
not at all.
I am curious, like, I teach speech and debate and we have a more minority based team, but it's not this, I don't know if it's the same thing of like maybe, I guess I don't know how to really ask it, but I guess in the sense of, do you all feel as if it's hard to get kids into theater that are kids of color, like especially like high school or even in community theater, like recruiting actors of color?
Erica, you kind of hit on it earlier. A lot of our kids are so athletic driven that when you start talking to them about theater, it's like, get up on the stage. I don't want to act. But you give me a basketball or a football or a baseball or some pom-poms or something, and I can do all of that, but don't ask me to try to remember lines and act and put emotion and feeling into something. Yeah, there are some students that are not sports related or sports minded, that are wanting to do the acting. My youngest grandson, bless his heart, he's my twin. He is 9 and he is my twin. He has been in 2 productions at his elementary school.
Oh, wow.
And he loves it.
Mhm.
I mean, anytime he's walking around the house and he's doing something theater-wise and dramatic, and I'm like, oh my God, that's my twin. Oh my God. My granddaughter, she just turned 15, and she tried her hand at theater, and now she's like, I'm good. I'm good. Just let me do my art. I'm good. I'm good. But we just don't have a lot of African-American male or females that are just running to the stage or running to the theater.
Yeah.
Do you have them come to your class pretty
Well,
often?
I agree with that. I started in middle school. So I did middle school theater for 13 years. And that is, a lot of times that's when kids are first exposed. Like if they don't have parents that are exposing them to theater, that's part of it too. It's just exposure. And then being able to see yourself on stage. If you see someone that looks like you, that's doing live theater, then you know, oh, I can do that. So if kids are not exposed and they don't see themselves there, then it's hard for them to imagine it, right? Because what you can't see, what you don't see, it's hard for you to even just imagine.
Right.
And so that's kind of their first time that a lot of kids are being exposed to it. So a lot of them don't have any prior exposure to theater at all, and then they're very reluctant. So it's kind of what the family will value, I think. Like she talked about sports. Theater is a lot of work, and it's a lot of hours to do it well.
Right.
And sometimes kids go into it and they're like, if it takes all that, I don't want to do all of that.
Exactly.
But of course, you'll be at basketball and football practice, 3 days a week or 4 days a week with a game, and then you travel and you're paying money and doing all of these things to play on a team. And I'm like, and in theater, and I told the kids, in theater, everyone gets to play.
Right. Yeah.
Right? You're not even going to ever be on a bench.
Yeah, that's true. Wow,
exactly.
yeah.
Your mom is going to be able to cheer you on.
Exactly.
They will see you on stage. So there, and then you're learning other things too. So many other benefits. But I think some of it is exposure. Right.
Okay, yeah.
And being able to like see yourself there. So recruiting kids of color, it can be a little difficult if they don't already have that gift in them when they come in. Some kids come into the world and right? Oh, this one's going to be on a stage.
Yeah.
But some of them, it's just hard if they, in 2020, right? COVID ushered in the kids that don't talk, that don't want to communicate, that want to talk to other people. And so we're, even in our department, like we're trying to overcome that type of thing where kids just don't want to get outside their comfort zone. Definitely, they don't want to be on a stage and saying anything.
Right.
And so I think kids of color will recruit kids of color. The more you have, the more other kids will be able to see that. And then when they see themselves on stage, they're like, oh, because I say, look, we are the most animated people I know. Like, I don't know anybody more animated and expressive than kids of color.
Right.
Seriously?
Yeah, that's the truth.
So where are you guys at? So even like I'm struggling with that because union is what? I don't know. We have a large Hispanic communication. Minority majority, but and within minorities, then you have, specific
groups,
cultures. And so, and some of them don't value it at all, not at all.
Right.
But then others, I'm like, you guys, come on. We're like expressive and we can dance and act and sing. Are you serious?
Oh, yeah.
So I think it's a school thing, what's cool, what's not, as well. So, sorry, I'm
you're
taking
fine.
my time.
You're fine. No.
We don't have, because connecting educational theater to community theater or to professional theater, that is not one of the main industries.
Right, it's not a pipeline
in our town. And so a lot of times parents are like, you're at school to figure out what you want to do with your life. And theater is not it. So you can play around with this for a minute, but then what do you want to do with your life? And I'm like,
serious.
Well, they're 18. They don't know yet, mama.
Yeah.
So
no, that's perfect, because that actually segues to the next question I actually had. I was going to say, like, when you all teach theater and you all have students, or what is the kind of goal path that you kind of like set them on? Like, for example, if you have a kid in your class and they're a great actor, do you encourage them to go like pursue it in college? Or if they're not a good actor, do you say like, hey, maybe try community theater and you could still do, or do you say try improv? So it's kind of a two different questions. So that's your question. Then my question for you is it easy for people to get into community theater, who might not have had a theater background or trying to discover it? So those are two separate questions, but kind of linked together. I want to know.
Okay, as far as mine, how easy is it to get into community theater? It's easy if the connections are put out there. Theater North last summer and then the summer before last, they did a actual theater camp. They had the students come in. They had them actually write some scripts, and then they actually put on the productions. Last summer, Theater North had a mime camp, and they also had a creative writing camp.
Wow.
So the kids came in, they wrote poetry, they wrote all kinds of
sketches and stuff.
Yes, monologues and sketches.
Wow, okay.
And then they actually presented those.
Wow.
But we didn't have as many people as many kids as we thought we would have. Okay, I know a lot of people during the summer, kids are summer schooling or they're AAUing or they're doing something other than wanting to come to camp.
Right.
But it's just we have to get our kids connected to the community camps. And as far as community theater, man, I started in 5th grade, but it was at my school and we did The Wizard of Oz. And when I had just went to, I hope that I have time to tell my story, but I had just went to this elementary school, which was my neighborhood elementary. And I remember going in, I was 5th grade, and I remember these 6th grade girls were like, ooh, we're going to audition for Dorothy. And I was like, I want to audition for Dorothy too. And they were like, you bet not. You're not going to get it. We're going to get it. We've been doing this all this time. We've been here. We've been here since we've been in preschool. And so I auditioned, and the teacher selected me to be Dorothy as the lead. They threatened me. They told me I needed to run home after school because they were going to jump on me.
Oh, ooh. Wow, this is the
I
dark side of
did.
theater.
I ran down the street, around the corner,
What?
and up the hill, and I went home and closed the door, and I was in there scared. And I was scared to go back to school the next day. But when I got in there and they saw that I could do it, and I pulled on my theater, my gift, and when I broke into Somewhere Over the Rainbow, and they were like, oh my gosh, she's Dorothy.
You sounded like that in 5th grade? I'm sorry.
I embellished a little bit. I did. I embellished a little bit. But when they saw that I had the talent to do it, they realized there's somebody else out there that can do what we do.
Yeah.
So then they supported me. But from there, my very first time on an adult, in an adult role, was with Theater North. I went to an audition for Mahalia the Musical. There was a young lady in there who she'd been singing and everybody knew her.
Yeah.
And she had the voice. I was like, why am I in here? Why am I auditioning? I auditioned and actually got the lead part of Mahalia.
Wow. So we're learning now is if you're in an audition room, we need to take ourselves out of it and excuse ourselves because we say, oh, that's Miss Cullum. We shouldn't be here.
Don't even try it.
Right.
Give up.
You said that I didn't.
I didn't even know there was a Mahalia the Musical.
Oh my gosh, we did it back in like 2000, 2001.
Did not know that.
Yes, there is Mahalia the Musical. And then from there, I kind of got the bug and I started.
Took off from there.
My gosh, it took off from there.
And is this the kind of story you tell your students to like say like, hey, like you can get into community theater or go into like beyond high school theater and try it out and see what you can?
It kind of depends on the kid. Like there are a lot of kids in class and they do theater because they just love it, but they want to be a veterinarian.
Oh, wow.
So, but they still love to do theater. They love to be on stage. One of our most successful kids graduated a couple years ago, very talented, is now at OSU studying to be an engineer and knew that that's what they were going to do. But there are so many other skills that you can get by just doing theater because it pulls on so many things inside you just as a person.
Right.
So we say at Union that school theater is not about theater. It's about being a better human being. Right.
Yeah.
And so having empathy for other people, learning how to work together, learning how to communicate, learning how to express yourself. Because when I talk about performing on stage or in movies, a lot of times kids are like, well, that's, that's not valuable, right? We don't live in that. We're not in New York. We're not a pipeline. So that's not a dream. And even like sports kids. So I'm like, well, what if you get a contract and someone puts a mic in front of you? What are you gonna say? Right? And so just the ability to express themselves. So that's what we start, just with the basics. There's so many what they call soft skills that you can learn by just doing theater. The process of doing a show is incredible.
Oh, I can only imagine.
It's an incredible, amazing, wonderful experience because there's nothing like it. It bonds you to people in ways that nothing else will, right? You get angry, you're upset, but you love them. I mean, you learn, you pull within yourself and you learn how to do all these different things, right? And at the end of a show, hopefully you've learned something from the process. So that's my question to my kids after every show. Like, what did you learn from this experience? This might be the third show of the year, but what did you learn about yourself? Always be introspective about what you're learning about you. So that's basic, right? But then you'll have kids that are uber talented as a teenager. Not everybody comes in here at their peak, in high school. Some of them will peak at 21 or 22. But then you do have some super talented kids that do want to go into theater professionally, and they're pursuing theater schools in NYC and Chicago. There are kids are at OSU and OU that graduated from Union that are theater majors. Wow. So it kind of depends on what the kid wants, but educational theater should hit kids in all areas. So it should be challenging enough for those kids that need to grow and need to learn. It should be rigorous enough to give them kind of an industry feel for like what they're going to be required to do when they leave, right? But it also should be fun enough to keep those kids that are like, oh, this is just fun. I love it. I want to keep doing it. Yeah. So it should have elements that will appeal to kids that want to do it professionally. Right. I do have some kids that I encourage, like I will see notices for auditions in community theater. Wow. And if they've graduated and they're still in town, I'll send them notices because they still want to perform. And I'm like, oh, Theater Tulsa has auditions, open auditions for this. Here, I found this out. I'll send them notices to go ahead and pursue auditions because they may not be in school, but they still want to perform. And the opportunities that we do have, I send them out to my kids. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. I try to encourage it all around.
That's how our speech and debate team works. Like, Spats, that's one thing we really focus on is like, it's always about winning the debates, but what kind of community can your team have?
Oh my goodness.
And I know when I told you all before we started filming, started recording, I wasn't going to ask any spicy questions, but I'm sorry I actually lied. I do have one. I know you two have a love of theater. But everyone should have an answer to this. And I want to know, what's your most, what show tune is the most overrated to you? Like someone sings it and they're like, that's one of the best one. You're like, not a fan.
Oh, goodness. Ooh, show tunes that are overrated. Oh my Lord. I mean, because
like you go to the
I'm
play
such a musical theater person that I don't know what's over. Like what?
Like,
I don't,
For example, I'm going to give you a hot take, okay?
Okay.
The Rent song. See what I mean?
Whatever.
See what I mean?
No, that's my song. I love it.
And I'm not saying it's a bad song.
I know it's not overrated,
I'm just saying it's a song that I think isn't like, it doesn't knock my socks off.
You're not theater.
I'm not
And I'm not. That's also fair. I mean, I go to the PAC. I haven't missed a season show in like 2 years.
I often say that is one of the best. I mean, Rent's fine. Rent's great. But that song is that song is one of the best things about Rent.
Well,
So
Yeah.
that's what I think. But
Okay.
I don't.
I
Do
think
you
if
have
you
any
took the song
ones
out-
that are overrated?
No, music is my oxygen, so
Oh,
there are
See,
no songs.
see, this
that-
is where I
yeah,
think
theater
there are
people-
no songs.
I think theater people have, like, I think y'all lie about this. I think there are songs that theater people don't like, but I think it's a hot take if you told me what it would be.
I'm trying to think of really. I'm honestly trying to think
Mhm.
if there is a song that I don't care for, and like a popular one. You know.
Yeah.
Mm,
I will say I'm
Not
also
really.
not like the biggest fan of Not Gonna Miss My Shot. I probably don't like that one as much as I
wait.
Mhm.
Not gonna miss your shot.
or Not Gonna, is it the Hamilton song?
Yeah,
right?
I know what
Not
you're
gonna-
talking
yeah,
about.
yeah, is that how
Not
is-
throwing away my shot.
Not throwing away. See, that's yeah.
What's
Yeah.
wrong with that one?
It was one of those songs for me, like, it's exciting, but it's kind of long for how as exciting as it's gonna be as like
Wait,
the opening
but it
song.
has a
Question:
point.
Did you
Yeah.
see the show?
I've seen it twice in person.
Oh, okay.
I've
Did you
also
like
seen-
it?
I did. No, and I will
Okay.
say, like, at first I was very hesitant to say I liked Hamilton because I didn't like the concept of it, but that's just me.
Okay.
But then I watched it and I was like, whoa.
Whoa, yeah.
Yeah.
But I would just say that in comparison to the other songs in Hamilton, I just think Throwing Away My Shot is not the best song on in the lineup.
But it has a place. It has
It's
it
a
makes
purpose.
a point.
Yeah, I know, but
Yeah.
like if it was me, I think the Dueling Rules is the best song in the show.
Oh yeah, that's great.
yeah,
That was
like
good,
yeah,
yeah.
that's
See, like you're saying, there's something you can find about every song
right.
that either makes a point, doesn't make a point, makes you think, makes you feel. There are no bad songs.
Okay, all right. We'll move on to our next
I mean,
question.
it's all storytelling, you
Yeah.
know, and they
Yes.
don't have to all be, off the chart. Not every single one. There's enough of them on there that are. So that one's it's purposed. It has purpose. I mean, I don't go around humming that one though. I will say.
So I want to know, like in local theater, I would like to know what's like a show or who are some names you think like our audience should know as far as like, oh, if you know they're gonna do a show, produce a show, or be in a show. Are there any names that y'all can throw out and include your own as well? You know, we want to make sure people have a platform as well. So it's your own show, but if there's any like local shows you would recommend to people, any suggestions that y'all could give us?
Well, I always tell my kids to go check out everything at the Performing Arts Center.
Mhm.
Okay.
Really, I mean, especially if there's a Broadway tour, because
Mhm. Yes.
that's where they feel like a lot of them, where they feel like they want to be and where they want to go. And if you want to see some exciting shows, then I encourage them to go check out shows at the Performing Arts Center, because a lot of them don't go downtown. They don't know what's there. They also have student rush tickets, and my kids did not know that. Student and teacher rush tickets at any show,
Really?
mostly any show, like especially a Broadway tour
Right.
that they have.
The like celebrity attraction shows.
Mhm, celebrity
Okay.
attractions. 2 hours before the show, they will sell you a ticket in the orchestra section, or sometimes other sections,
Wow.
for $29. You just have to have your ID.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
That's not
so
bad.
it's a great way to expose yourself to more
Right.
theater. But they didn't. A lot of my kids didn't know about that. I'm like, no, you need to go to Stu Rush
Yeah,
you
tickets.
just taught me.
Do Rush
I'm
tickets if
glad
you
you
have an
said
ID.
that.
Yeah.
And if you're a
Yeah.
teacher, it's student and teacher rush.
Oh, it's teacher too?
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. Life
So
changed.
it's really, really, like, I don't miss unless
Yeah.
I just cannot work it in my schedule. I rarely miss a show there.
Is there a code or anything? or
No, just bring your ID.
okay.
Yeah, bring your ID.
Okay.
So I really encourage them to do that. I also encourage them to, and because we stay pretty busy,
Mhm.
at the high school level,
Right.
at Union, and we only have 1 month where we're off,
Wow.
and so it's hard to juggle and do other shows.
Right.
My kids are very supportive of other high school
Right.
shows. They'll go. They have their own little community, and they'll go and see other high schools to be supportive, because they have
Yeah.
other friends in other
Right.
shows. But in the summertime, I will encourage them to seek out training from other people, because another voice helps.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's kind of like parents. You hear something from one person all the time. It's not as valuable. Maybe if you can go seek training in another place,
Right.
you'll believe it. or it'll help you more. And the more help you receive, the better our shows are.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, but I do encourage them to go check out community theater, anything that's happening at the PAC or
I was going to say
Theater Tulsa.
You all have a show coming up, correct? Or
yes, Theater North will be doing Chicken and Biscuits in May, and then also World Stage Theater Company will be doing Halftime the Musical in June.
Okay.
And I will actually be in that one.
Oh, nice.
It's about the New Jersey Nets. They actually had a senior citizen dance group.
Wow. Yeah.
And they did hip hop.
Yeah, okay. I've seen. Yeah.
Okay, so we will be doing that play in June.
Okay, that's exciting.
Yeah.
We're getting closer to our end of time. But I would like to know if you mentioned Wizard of Oz earlier, and you know, I used to go to an all-black private school. I used to go to Deborah Brown's new concept school, and we used to put on little productions. And one of our productions was The Wiz, and we had a great time. Like the teachers and the students both did it, and it was a super fun time as a kid to go to something like that. But I would like to know, you know, The Wiz is I like to call it the Motown version of Wizard of Oz. What's a play that you would like to see a Motown version of? Like for me, I think Les Mis would be way funnier if it was set with like Motown style characters.
Funnier?
Like, I mean, it would just be like, I don't know. I think it'd be cool
it would
to have
completely change the entire concept.
Yeah, like
what?
If Ice Cube played the main character and he goes through the whole, like if you had Friday but Les Mis, yeah.
Oh my God, I could not.
That's just me.
Oh my God.
I don't think I have an answer to your question.
Like Les Mis directed by Ryan Coogler, you know?
My Lord.
Yeah. Michael B. Jordan plays in it some kind of way. Like, I think that's just me. If you could Wizify, I don't know if that's the proper term.
Well,
like,
the Wiz is great.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Yeah. But
yeah, Usher plays
and I want to say Annie, but they almost kind of
they
did
Annie.
that.
They gave Annie. Yeah, Annie got weird.
But it wasn't quite Motownified.
No,
like
it wasn't.
No.
So I would like to see Annie.
Okay.
Hood version.
Hood version.
Motown hood version.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, no. See,
Wow. I'm lost for
lost.
words. Maybe Singing in the Rain.
Okay.
You know?
My Fair Lady. I think that'd be a good Motown story.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But okay, so although Union Show is probably over at this point, right?
Right.
But Union has an incredible theater program.
Right, yes.
And so our season is full. We do theater from middle school through high school all year long.
Right.
Really.
Okay.
We have shows from last of October all the way to second semester into April and May. And so it's a really amazing program. Our all school musical is 3rd through 12th grade, and we do just incredible shows. The team there is really, really wonderful.
And do you feel like in high school theater, like y'all have a big enough platform, or do you have to depend on like parents? You know what I mean?
Well, we're pretty blessed in that our district does value what we do.
Okay.
And so that makes a difference, right? I don't feel like I have to pull teeth or beg to get the things or get the support that we need. Now, it's not like, I'm going to say this, it's not like sports, it's not like football, basketball, or any of those things, but I don't feel like I'm unsupported. It's been made very, very clear to me that our district supports what we do. They value what we do.
Nice.
And so, we don't have a whole lot of money, but we are given resources to be able to do wonderful things for our kids in our community.
And kind of the same question as far as community theater goes. Like my cousin Ariane Texan, she's an actor.
I know Ariane was your cousin. I worked with Ariane. Matter of fact, I directed her in Tulsa 21 Black Wall Street.
Right, yeah. She we went to that. So like that's what I was gonna say. Like my family will buy tickets and support.
Right.
So is that kind of like the same thing? Like community theater, do y'all feel like y'all have, a big enough platform to kind of be able to express like, hey, we have shows going on, or is that kind of a hard thing for y'all to do as well?
We do have that platform, but one of the things that I see with community theater is like you've got 5 different theater companies, community theater companies. Is probably more in the Tulsa area. American Theater Company, Theater Tulsa, World Stage, Theater North, Heller Theater Company. There's Clark Youth Theater. So there are several groups, but my concern is a lot of times the groups are overlapping with their performances because like our last performance that we did with Theater North, there was a World Stage production going on. There was a Theater Tulsa production going on. The Tulsa Opera even had something going on across the hall from us at the Performing Arts Center.
Right.
So it's like, I kind of wish we could get together and do like a community calendar and do a little bit better of scheduling so that we can go out and support each other, because it's crazy when you go to someone's play and they're like, my feelings were so hurt because we were performing the same weekend your show was going and we could not come see it.
Right. Wow.
That was a conversation we had at our last production. I went to several other performances because of the snow at the time kind of made it where we didn't have some rehearsals and stuff.
Yeah.
And that was the one thing everybody said, man, I sure wish that there was time for us to come see your show. So that is something. We've got the platform, we've got the push, we've got the resources, we've got the backing, but sometimes you're overlapping with each other and with the Broadway shows that are coming as well.
All right. Well, I think we're getting towards our last question here. So, like I said, we're going to balance between silly, funny, but I think for this episode, I think I've done enough silliness. I think we can end on a serious note.
Oh, okay.
I'd like to know to you all, or ask you all, what are ways that you all think like maybe powers above you all could work on having more diverse cast and maybe more diverse, like, as you said, behind the desk crew? Like, what are you think the steps that could be taken to get more people of color in those positions?
Well, in educational theater, I mean, it is really outreach to the students that we have that are diverse, and so just trying to figure out how to specifically reach certain groups of kids with what we do. If that's just resources or being able to show them things that reflect who they are, an outreach, just get them all in a room and expose them to what we do.
Yeah.
And sometimes that just takes time. Sometimes it is financial resources and just vision. But it needs to be important, and it needs to be important to more than just one or two people, right? Sometimes it doesn't get the awareness that it needs because it's not as important to the right people in the right places,
right?
The decision makers, right? I have some authority in some decisions, but not. I mean, there's a whole lot of people above me that really are the people that determine what is valued, right, in our district, and so I think, if the certain people can put this on their list of values, we value this because we think it's important.
Right.
But we know that there is a deficit with like kids of color. And so what can we do by way of outreach to get them involved? Right. Yeah. So I just think it needs to be valued by the right people in the right place, because we put resources towards the things that we value.
Right.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I guess like same thing, like we talked about the white director earlier.
Yeah.
Like, that's a decision that was probably above him.
Definitely.
Right.
But one of the things we need to have availability of training. We need to have community groups to come together, the community theaters, we need to provide training for people, because if I don't know how to direct, I'm not just going to put myself out there. If I don't know how to be stage crew, I'm not just going to put myself out there. And I was talking to Erica earlier, we really need to have training for our young people and even adults for being technical crew. Because just like Michael, he might not get on the stage, but he'll get in the sound booth and he will run the sound for a show.
Right.
But we need more people of color in that position. We don't have a lot of sound people, sound techs. We don't have a lot of light techs. We don't have a lot of stage managers. All of them, the Performing Arts Center will train for these, but we don't have anybody offering to, hey, we need these trainings. Hey, let's get you in our group so we can send you to training. So I think more opportunities and more maybe more advertisement about those opportunities needs to happen.
Well, again, thank you all so much for being our guest here today. Thank you for putting up with my foolishness. I appreciate y'all being here. This has been an awesome dive
fun.
for this. Yeah. I
Thank
will
you.
like to note that I did not get an answer from Miss McGhee when it came to which place you like to Wizify. We're just going to keep that on the record. But
I thought I said Singing in the Rain.
oh, Singing
She
in the Rain.
did.
Oh,
I
she
did.
did.
Did say
Okay.
Singing in the
I'm
Rain.
sorry.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Touche. I apologize. Well, this has been Misconnections with Chaz Thunderwolf Stevens, filmed here at the Rax Tulsa, sponsored by Create Tulsa and the Performing Arts Center. I'd like to thank our guest again, Miss Erica McGhee and Miss Michelle Collum. See you on the next episode.